What's up to our sidekicks and hedgefolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop, the Last Podbender podcast, episode 66, show where we talk about movies and TV and comics and hot Fire Nation gossip and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ.
Young Junk.
Bomb-ass podcast production space here in Philadelphia, PA. I'm your waterbending host, Johnny Destructo. Of
Shit. Oh, that's cool.
Spoiler alert.
Man, do you do it ever?
It's only piss.
Oh, yours or anybody's?
Just mine.
That's okay.
And the occasional dog. Located at 4327 Main Street. It's a comic shop, Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex. I probably forgot to because I was too busy thinking about piss.
Dog piss.
Dog piss. It's a rad comic shop that caters to rad folks like yourselves. So come and give me all your money. With me tonight is no.
JD.
Well, JD, yes.
JD.
With me tonight
I got one.
is JD.
And
also Brian.
Yes.
And also
Dylan.
Dylan's
at the table.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey.
He's in the booth, which isn't really a booth, but that's all right.
I think at the table is a cool way to
but
say it.
He's at the
Dylan's
at the table.
That's right. It has multiple layers.
Feel free to comment, like, subscribe.
About that.
If you have a whole thing up here to right above you, we have a thing and we'll see all your comments and then we can chat with you, which is really why I'm here. These guys suck. I'm here because of the chat. I want to talk to
Dylan.
Well, Dylan's here too.
You were gesturing at me. He's at the table.
Yeah. You can also email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. People used to do that, and now because we do the live stream, I guess they don't bother. Brian?
Yeah.
What have you been up to this week?
JD, I was watching a television program.
Your stories.
A series of moving pictures. Yes, they told a story to me. And I saw one full season of the story of Daredevil.
I'm sorry, we got a comment from Twitch. I don't bend when I beak it.
I assume break it. Like breaking wind.
You can assume that if you want, but it says beak.
Maybe he beaks it.
Maybe it's true. Yeah.
It's kind of like slamming it, you know?
Oh,
don't bend wind.
Oh, I beaked wind. Like it's like breaking wind 2 times.
I want to know how the beak comes into it.
Beak.
You just said the word beak again.
Yeah.
So I want to know I want to know how the beak comes into it. It comes when you say beak.
People make all sorts of nonsense words.
Yeah, that's true. Beak is a word though. Like a bird's beak.
Yeah. I got nothing.
You certainly don't have a beak.
Tell me. Well, not that you can see. Tell me about the thing you did this week.
That was Daredevil.
Oh, you're right. He said break. Daredevil.
We got to the bottom of that one.
Yeah. Daredevil 2015 on Netflix. Is that the one?
That's where I watched it.
Do you mean
the movie?
Ben Affleck.
Affleck.
Yeah. Affleck. The Ben Affleck movie. From 2014.
I don't think it was from 2014.
I don't think so either.
The movie was not from 2014, but I don't mean it.
Okay.
Although I did see that at the time.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
it's a piece of shit, but I love it. So.
Yeah, and it was not as many superheroes things around, you know. So I had never gotten around to watching this Daredevil show, and
have you watched any of the net? Okay,
not any of them.
All right,
and I've been since 2015 when it came out, like. I watched that Daredevil show, right? And other things happened. I watched other stuff, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
right. It's really good.
How much have you watched?
I am part or most of the way through season 2 now, right? So the Punisher has come punished.
I have. It's all one big blob to me.
Yeah.
But I remember loving it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember where the little things happen.
Sure.
John Barenthal is an awesome Punisher. He was so good.
He is really good. He adds a real pathos, which is cool. And I do not really care for the Punisher.
Or pathos.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Keep it light, Frank
Only
Castle.
Jokes. Yeah.
Only jokes, only levity, and like denial. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So those 3 things. Yep. So yeah, I was real into it. I liked him not having a costume for like almost all of the first season.
Just like in Man Without Fear. the John Romita Jr. and Frank Miller graphic novel.
Oh, is that right?
Right. So that retells the origins of Matt Murdock, and the whole time he's just wearing a black sort of jogging suit and then a like a bandana over his.
Oh, they didn't come up with that? These guys?
No.
Oh, how about
no.
that?
It's referenced directly from the probably mid 80s graphic novel.
Yeah, because it was before Dark Knight Returns, right?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
But go on.
But
yes,
I never read that, nor was I even really. I was only aware of its existence. So, yeah, the guy plays Daredevil. What's his name?
Charlie Cox.
Plays him really well.
I almost said Brian Cox, and that makes me really want to see a Brian Cox Daredevil show.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
But go on.
He's the physicist, right?
He's the guy from Succession.
Oh yeah,
he's the patriarch of
That'd
Succession.
Be cool.
The old,
him
old guy,
like as a young man starting out as Daredevil,
but
played by Brian Cox now.
Yeah,
yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, this was not that. And I, their interplay, the friendships between them, the way that they play off of each other is really cool.
Foggy and Karen.
Exactly. Foggy and Karen and Matt. And he has a very interesting delivery as Matt Murdock, specifically. Like the way that he speaks and the tenor and tone of his voice, intonation is kind of reserved, quiet, but solid, and like he's very cool. He's got a lot of emotion in his voice. So what else? Fight scenes are awesome. I'd heard a lot about that hallway scene, and then after I saw it, I looked it up and I was like, when is the hallway scene in Daredevil? Because I didn't know if there was another one coming. And cool. I could go for another one. Yeah. And
I think you already saw it. It was a whole hallway scene, but like up a flight of stairs, maybe. And I think
it's a stairwell.
Yeah. And he winds up using like a chain.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a stairwell sequence. So I just mean it.
A 2-dimensional is the hallway thing, right? It's only they don't go up and down in floors.
Right. Yeah.
It's all flat.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's just there. And then when they add that third dimension.
Yeah. Boy howdy.
Oh man. Yeah. You thought it couldn't go any deeper, but then it does. And So and that chain was very cool. Yeah. I like how he picks up stuff around him and uses it. The fight choreography is Great. It's very cool looking, very real and elegant looking. Him jumping around and what have you. And season 3,
Noel's in the chat. So Noel's not with us, our friends, because he's not feeling well. But he is in the chat commenting. Season 2 has a stairwell scene. Season 3 has a oneer going through a hospital. Each season has one of those massive fight scenes.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I took a little break to watch the final few episodes of Quantum Leap, which I had heard were really good, and they were really good.
Mark Waid.
Is that right?
So I grew up loving the original show, and
me too.
But I wasn't really interested in giving this. It just felt like a retread that I wasn't interested in. But then Mark Waid posted about it, and I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So yeah, but you concur with Mark Waid?
I concur with Mark Waid. It was a really good season finale, and hopefully it goes on.
You're only on season 2 of Daredevil. I want to say there's 4 seasons.
3, I believe.
Is there 3? Oh, 3, and then the Defenders.
Yes.
Defenders.
Okay, yeah.
Are you interested enough in the Netflix little mini universe that they've created to check out maybe Jessica Jones or Luke Cage?
I'll check them out. I've been meaning to check out Jessica Jones for about as long too.
Awesome.
That's what I've heard, and they have mentioned her now in Daredevil.
Yeah,
just like in passing so far, anyway. So, and I considered, I was like, should I try to keep pace? And then I was like, nah, I'm just gonna watch this show that I'm into.
Yeah.
And Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes, fantastic.
He's a very different sort of actor, I think. At least his physicality, especially from being in Full Metal Jacket.
I never saw it.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. Okay, he's been in a ton of stuff. I remember seeing him in a J-Lo movie called The Cell.
I loved that movie when it came out, and people did not.
They hated it.
They hated it.
But I was so taken by the spectacle.
I was taken by the spectacle as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was him. The guy who's hanging himself on the hooks. He's the bad guy.
I saw it a long time. Why would a bad guy hang himself on hooks?
I have no answer.
All right.
But go on.
So yeah, then you get into season 2. And they've got excellent subplots for Foggy and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just part of Matt Murdock's story, which I think is very cool. They're doing their thing as well, and contributing in major ways to what happens during the season. So we're into Frank Castle, who's a very sympathetic character for a mass murderer, but he kills bad guys, right? Or people whom he thinks are bad guys. But in the reality of the show, they're probably, they're bad guys.
Yeah, he's usually pretty on point. Yeah.
Exactly. He knows what he's doing.
I think now that you've mentioned it, looking back, all of my favorite scenes, besides the hallway scene, all of the scenes that I really remember are based on the ancillary characters.
Is that right?
So they're the most tense bit of television I think I've ever seen was Deborah Ann Woll as Karen, and some of the stuff that she goes through, and just being 100% sure she was expendable.
Yeah.
Like she's going to die horribly any second.
Yeah.
Because of especially my experience of the character in the comic books and how she winds up.
Any number of
it doesn't go well for her in a myriad of different ways in the comic book. So I was just constantly dead.
No.
I was constantly waiting for her to bite it.
Yeah.
And I like her a lot. I think she's given much more to work here than she was in like True Blood, Deborah Ann Woll. But I loved her. And then the stuff with Foggy and stuff with Ben Urich.
Ben Urich is awesome.
Man. Kingpin stuff. There's like such a great ensemble cast that Daredevil, in my eyes, actually gets overshadowed by how good everything else is around him.
Oh,
even though the stuff with him is great.
Yeah. It is great. In fact, to touch on the costume again, I was almost a little sorry when they got rid of the black outfit. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Right now, the Punisher stuff, I think, is about to come to a head. And I'm curious to see what head it comes to.
He winds up getting his own show as well. Just
within the show. Like, they give Frank Castle the character.
It's a cooking show.
That's cool. Does he still shoot stuff?
It's a lot of shooting.
Does he bring in like mafia guests and then kill them?
You know the scene where when Homer gets a gun and he just uses it to turn on lights and turn off lights and stuff?
That's what Frank Castle does.
That's what he does.
That's pretty cool.
It's how he stirs the eggs.
It's a better thing to do with guns.
With guns than
he stirs them by firing bullets into them.
With a machine gun. And that's how he stirs.
Yeah.
You still have to. He slowly mixes in the flour though.
Of course.
Yeah. It's
by shooting it with slow bullets.
With slow bullets. Yes.
I understand.
So I'm so glad that you like Daredevil. I wasn't sure because it is a pretty dark show.
It is a pretty dark show and very gory,
very violent.
Yes, he really.
He gives them what for.
He gives them what for.
Yeah.
He halves at them.
And by he does have at them. Yes. I'm so excited. It has been on the tip of my body part to go back and rewatch all of the Daredevil stuff because I loved it so much.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorite superhero shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I might do that at some point.
Sounds awesome.
Robert Monroe Jr. says, "What's up, Cult Poppers?"
Hey,
Robert Monroe Jr. Did you watch Daredevil and all the other Netflix shows? If you did, what was your favorite of the Netflix shows?
And if not, why not?
And
I just want to know.
And if you didn't see them, why not?
If you didn't see them, like if you just weren't interested, you were busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Noel says Defenders is between seasons 2 and 3. So he does make a good point. Don't plow through Daredevil because there is a big thing that happens with Daredevil in the Defenders show that picks up in season 3 of Daredevil.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Thanks, Noel. I forgot about that. Well, I'll tell you what I've been up to this week. So I don't know if anyone has ever heard of ADHD.
I've heard of it.
It's all the rave, all the buzz. The kids all have it. They're loving it.
Is that right?
Everyone's talking about ADHD and then forgetting that they talked about it and then they bring it up again. It's fun. Daredevil was my favorite, says Robert. Great show. Me too, Robert.
Indeed.
So I have been struggling with ADHD so long that, and this isn't a setup for a joke. How long was it?
I wasn't going to ask.
Is that all the things, all the little elements of my personality that I find either what make me up as a person, either, whether for good or bad, have just been symptoms of ADHD. And it has been
all of them.
So many of them.
Okay.
Yeah, all of these little quirks that I have and just the ways I think about myself. And then I read a thing and I'm like, oh, that's just my ADHD. That's awesome. So I've been on Adderall for a while, and I finally tracked down a ADHD coach.
Oh, I didn't know that kind of thing existed.
Neither did I.
Oh.
So my wife was like, you need an ADHD coach.
She knew that it existed before, and she just didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was withholding.
Yeah.
She's like, he'll get better on his own. It's fine.
If he can't find an ADHD coach on his own, then maybe he should have gotten rid of the ADHD.
What?
Right, because without it, you would have been able to find one.
That's true. It's true.
And then you could make use of it.
So anyway, anyone who has ADHD out there, I'm only at the very beginning of this coaching thing. It's a 12-week finite process. And we meet once a week on Zoom, and he gives me a bunch of like reading materials, and we talk about stuff and just tools, right? The whole idea is to give me all the tools that I need to be a functioning human adult. And by the end of the 12 weeks, hopefully it'll all be better.
Only 12 weeks.
Only 12 weeks.
It's very quick.
So yeah. So that's kind of what I've been spending most of my time on, is either downloading apps and figuring out how to use apps to get better at my time management, at my a thing called what is it? Oh no.
Memory.
Yes. I forgot what it was called. Executive dysfunction as well.
Cool.
So all those sorts of things. So if you guys are out there and you have ADHD, maybe look up an ADHD coach. I'm currently using ADHDlevelup.com, which is where this guy comes from.
What is executive dysfunction, JD?
Well, okay. The way I think of it is, let's say I'm an artist.
Okay.
I am one. And I've got my inks and my brushes and my pad and all this other stuff that I need to do that art. And I will think, I want to do some art.
Yeah.
But then just the mere thought of going and like tracking all that stuff down is enough to make me just go, never mind.
Okay.
I'm not going to bother.
Okay.
So the ability to like get up off one's duff and get started. Yeah. Or if I want to organize something, I will look at all of the different things that I have to organize, and I will be like, that is overwhelming. Never mind.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is that like looking for the pens and paper and whatever? Is that like, well, now there are 2 tasks?
Yes.
I have to accomplish one task before I can even do the one that I want to get into.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming.
And normal people are just like, I'm just going to go get these things and then get started. Whereas people like me would just like, I don't know. That's never mind.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Where were the normal people?
Where were they?
Yeah, I've never.
No. You haven't met one.
Why would you want to be one of those anyway? You know what I mean? But no, I mean, I think
to make the lives of the people in my life easier. That's why I would want to do.
That's interesting.
And what they call neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent. But you know, Isaac Newton may have been as well. And
you heard it here first. I'm the next Isaac Newton.
You heard it when JD said it first. Yes. He did. You heard it.
Yeah.
And it was here.
He said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have no memory. I have no short-term memory. Most of my childhood is gone. Like I don't remember most of it. I have people who come up and like, oh, remember when we did this?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't. I will also do a thing where I will have a memory of, let's say, going to a movie, and I'll be like, Brian, remember when you and I went to that movie? No, I don't, because I wasn't there.
Oh, I
will just put you.
Yeah. I thought it would be a fun prank.
Go to that movie.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we did.
Oh, you son of a jerk. Robert Monroe Jr. says Ramona Fradon died on 2/24. She's best known for her work on Aquaman and Metamorpho, which she she co-created.
Metamorpho, I believe.
I did not know that.
Yes, I recently found that out. I knew the name.
Yeah.
And probably because I'd seen her associated with Metamorpho, and even though I didn't remember it.
I did not know her name until she passed.
Oh,
and then I saw all of the posts, and I was like, who is this?
Yeah. Co-creator of Metamorpho.
That's awesome.
Who's going to be a character in the new Superman movie, and hopefully she heard about this. 500
other characters.
No, it sounds amazing. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's actually like 4, but yes.
Yeah.
And one of them is Metamorpho.
The other thing you do with ADHD is you don't really have, you're not able to like Count.
Get it? Count. Let me take you through it. All right. We're gonna go up just shy of infinity. So get ready.
So bear with us.
Yes.
So you were aware of Ramona?
I had heard her name,
Yeah.
and it was probably because I'm a really big Metamorpho fan. He's awesome.
You're the one. That's cool.
No, I'm a one.
Yep.
Unless you mean in a different context, in which something
you're Neo.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, anyway. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about Ramona Fraser.
Listen, I got distracted by the duties that come from
being the one. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones. We all do different stuff. Metamorpho is awesome.
Tell me why he's awesome.
I will tell you why. Because he can change into any element. And I think maybe it's any element within the human body, but he's like gold sometimes. And I don't know what the deal with it is. So I think it's one of those comic book things where like, if a writer is aware of that, then that's the deal.
Yeah.
And he changes his form, right? He can make like a metal hammer out of his hand. I have an action figure depicting just that transformation. Yeah, among other things. He's got 4 different things going on. And he can turn into gases and all these different things. He's like apart from the world. He was an archaeologist, which is cool. And but that didn't set him apart from the world. It was when he became Metamorpho, and was transformed into this, what he feels like hideous kind of guy. He's all pale white skin with no hair, and his body that looks like a costume is, I think, actually his regular form. But anyway, he's cool. He got us into all these kooky adventures. I really like the power, the archaeology kind of deal, and he's got like a nobility to him.
Is he funny?
He can be,
yeah.
But he's more like, I picture it more like the kind of weird, like early Captain Marvel or like Bob Haney stuff, where it's just like off the wall kind of crazy comicsy kinds of things.
And then he's got a wife, right? And then his wife's dad sucks.
No, they're not married. He does suck.
Oh, okay.
I forget her name, but it's something like Sapphires or something like that.
Stagg.
Simon Stagg is the guy, the dad that sucks. And he's also got like
a bodyguard guy.
He's got a bodyguard who's an unfrozen caveman.
That's right.
Also a jerk.
Yes.
He's not just a caveman.
Yeah. He's an unfrozen caveman jerk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he goes around jerking it up. Yep. And he's always getting in the way. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He do be jerking it up.
He jerks it up.
Yeah.
And Metamorpho is like not into it, right? Because he's
Is Metamorpho a superhero?
He's a superhero and adventurer, and
what were they called? It's
the
not
Challengers of the Unknown.
That's the one.
Yes,
Challengers.
Like that. Or the Fantastic Four.
But I was about to say the ones who won the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but I think he works for Simon Stagg because he is not aware that he's a jerk, or he kind of is, and maybe it goes back and forth. And I forget the bodyguard's name, but they like, they're always Simon Stagg is like, do this thing, find this artifact or whatever. There's also Element Girl, who is similarly transformed by the Orb of Ra. So it's got an Egyptian mythology thing going on, which I always loved.
Is Element Girl not from the Legion of Superheroes?
It's Element Lad.
Element Lad.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. There's other people Girl, though, like Triplicate Girl.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you just... But, and a very cool... side story in the Sandman comics involves Element Girl.
Oh,
it's amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds cool.
It's worth a read.
I like when Neil Gaiman adds in the other characters.
Me too.
In Sandman.
Me too.
Yeah, he puts a little twist on them.
Yeah. And this is one of those sort of fill-in issue type, or I don't know if that's the real story behind it, but it's completely separate from the overall narrative. And Morpheus may or may not appear in it, actually. But
Metamorpho? Oh, Morpheus. Morpheus. Sandman.
Yeah.
Duh.
But I think you would enjoy it if you just found this issue. You can read it just on its own. I think Death is the primary endless.
Ooh, yeah. Noel says, welcome to the history of Element people. What about Element Boy?
Element Boy is away.
Okay.
He's at his element studies. And they're Beware the Batman had episodes with Metamorpho, yes, and it was awesome.
Beware the Batman gets a bad rep.
It should get a good rep.
I like that cartoon. That was good. Yeah.
I like that sort of the austerity that came from the CGI limitations. That like we can't show too much, but that and Green Lantern were very cool. I like Green Lantern.
I have watched. I'm about to bad rap it right now. Okay.
First, announce your name and what you came to say.
My name's JD, and I came to say I don't like Green Lantern in any way.
What sort of a way?
I just tried to rewatch that show again, and I don't care about this. Yeah, like the CG Green Lantern one that came out shortly after I think the Ryan Reynolds debacle.
I think so.
Yeah. Beware the Batman I liked a lot. Says Armoon. Hi, Armoon.
Yeah, they had sort of an outsiders team form in Beware the Batman with Black Lightning and Katana and Metamorpho. It was cool. What's up?
So Daredevil, you liked it?
I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. And here's the thing: does he have echolocation? Kind of. It's hard to say. I think he does.
He does.
They don't actually say it.
Thing. They don't do the thing like the visual.
Right. And they don't say that it's separate from his heightened senses. Yeah. It's just, I get a picture of the world
from
which I perceive in kind of a visual way from these senses, which I have heard. Now, JD, I'm going to do something that I don't often do.
Okay.
Allow me to digress. So, here we go.
What?
That's right. There was a woman who could not see, and they put a patch on her tongue, which delivered electrical signals to her tongue.
Yes.
And it was in response to visual information from the camera. And she eventually, her brain began to interpret these electrical signals as visual information. And that's kind of how it comes across like it might be in Daredevil, that he is just doing this. I mean, he says a bunch of times, he's like, I just kind of do it.
Yeah.
I've
heard that story.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great story. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. I forgot about it. But as you were saying, I was like, oh, I know about that. Yeah. Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom is now streaming on Max. You're welcome, says Noel.
Oh, sweet.
You know what else is streaming, Noel? Thank you so much for asking. It's Avatar, The Last Airbender, the Netflix live action.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to cut you off right there.
Oh, why?
Well, I have a bit of news to share. I do believe that yesterday you did some celebrating of some sort.
Oh, from my B-Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's my birthday yesterday.
First thing I'm going to ask of you is to look underneath your table.
Whoa.
My water bottle?
Yeah, that you brought. Look even more under.
Ooh, even...
So Noel couldn't be here today.
Oh,
but he was able to drop some goodies off for you. So there's a treat at the bottom, and he brought me something to read. He sent me something to read verbatim.
Hold on a second.
So you got to open the treats first.
Before or after I open the treats?
You can open the treats first.
Okay.
Treats first.
Here is a treat.
And this is what Noel has to say about the treats.
Well, that looks good.
Happy birthday, old man. I'm sorry I caught a cold and could not give you these treats in person, but Dylan said that he will read this verbatim and do what I ask. The treats are homemade, a secret recipe passed down from generation to generation in my family, originally given to my ancestors by Mr. Kellogg himself.
He was a slave owner.
And he was against masturbation.
Oh, he was. Right. That was the point of cornflakes.
Mine was a joke.
Yeah.
My slave owner thing was a joke. But against masturbation is true.
Yeah. He's like,
true.
These kids need bland cereal, so they'll stop touching themselves.
Exactly. And they didn't. And
now you got a bunch of sugary cereal, and you can touch yourself all you want because it's your birthday.
And they might make them seem. Does that make you want to touch yourself? In a sexual way?
Hold on.
Okay. Because it'll be a little sticky because of the marshmallows.
Yeah, right. Hold on.
Yeah. I said touch yourself.
Would you like some?
During the show while we talk on mic? Sounds fun. Okay.
I love it. It's going to be right in my ears, guys.
There more?
I love it. There is more. Whoa. Now you can open the gift.
It wasn't just an empty bag.
And what Noel has to say about the gift is, I had this graded for you. Or open it while I'm reading it. I don't know what it is.
It's a report card.
Yeah.
I've graded your performance D+.
Does not pay attention in class.
I had this graded for you. Right now it's worth like $75.
Oh.
But when Sony eventually realizes there's a kid Spider-Man sidekick and greenlights an animated universe of movies, games, shows, and toys, you can retire with that cheddar. Get that money. All
Nice.
Caps.
Thank
I love you, dummy. Happy birthday.
Aw, thanks, Noel.
And then he wrote a stage direction. Dylan now open mouth kisses JD.
Dylan, you're not supposed to read those. You do the.
You just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But you know,
Oh,
With-
thank you, buddy.
in the age of consent.
He didn't say that. Oh, JD, do you consent?
No.
Also, Dylan has to consent. And he didn't say it had to be on the mouth. It's just your mouth has
My
to be.
mouth
Yeah.
has to be open.
Yeah.
JD just has to be around.
You know what's cool about this? It tastes like a bowl of cereal.
There's probably the cereal.
Well, also the marshmallow is kind of milky.
It is a little milky. Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
is very good.
And the last
Thank you
thing
so
he
much.
says is, "Have a good show, kids."
Sorry, too late for that. We ruined it. That's amazing. So,
Very
anybody
nice.
doesn't know, this is Spider-Man number 7, which is the first appearance of Spider-Boy, who is Spider-Man Peter Parker's sidekick, who no one remembers. So the deal with this character, Spider-Boy, is that he shows up at the end of a big Spider-Verse thing.
Okay.
Everything's back to the way it should be. And he appears like, I'm back, you guys. What's up? Let's all hang out. Literally, everyone's like, bro, we don't know you.
Oh.
So he's been around for years. He has been Peter Parker's sidekick for years. Nobody remembers him, including us, the readers.
Oh, no. This has come out
So,
to
yeah.
affect us, the readers?
Mhm.
I thought I just forgot.
Dylan consented when he agreed to read the note, says Noel. Spider-Boy is a redhead too, just like I used to be before I got too old, and now my hair is this whatever color.
What color is that? I like
guess
it.
I bleached it a while ago, so I guess it's
I like it.
Yeah. Frosted tips.
Nice.
Thank you, Noel. That's amazing.
Hey, JD, how many times has that happened? You remember Triumph, the Justice League guy?
No.
Oh, the guy who was a founding member of the Justice League. But during one of their early adventures, he was lost and everyone forgot about him.
Well.
And then he came back in the 90s and they were like, Triumph, listen, we've been doing this for a long time now. And yeah, you were here in the beginning, but you got a lot to learn. And he was like, but I'm a founding member of the Justice League.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, he had a teal suit with gold shoulder areas. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
right around the shoulders.
And then they also did Sentry.
Yes, the
Marvel
Sentry.
Comics did the Sentry.
They tried to fool us with that one.
Oh, that was pretty cool,
That
though.
was pretty cool.
Like,
Yeah.
they found all of these notes tucked away in Stan
Stan
Lee's like
Yeah.
drawers or
Yeah.
whatever. What was that guy's name? Triumph.
Triumph. I forget his real name. Or, alter ego.
A fictional former superhero. Blah blah. Oh, that's a terrible design.
Very 90s.
Oh, by Phil Jimenez.
Hmm.
Anyway, no, I don't remember that at all.
Just like
So-
those aliens intended. They wiped our memories of him.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, so The Last Airbender came out,
It did.
I don't know, like 15 years ago. But then recently another Airbender came out last week.
Turns out it wasn't the last.
Yeah, it was it was the penultimate Airbender.
Yeah. Or, well, who knows?
That's true. Could
Yeah.
keep going. Avatar The Last Airbender, a Netflix live action remake of the Avatar The Last Airbender cartoon from Nickelodeon. Let's see. Developed by Albert Kim, starring Gordon Cormier, Keo Wentio, Ian Owsley, and Dallas Liu. A young boy known as the Avatar must master the 4 elemental powers to save the world and fight against an enemy bent on stopping him. The cartoon. Oh, no, that's my notes. So
You don't read those. You just act.
I just,
It's
I
stage
open
show.
mouth kiss them.
Yeah.
So you, Brian,
Yes.
have never watched the cartoon
Never.
Avatar: The Last Airbender
I've never.
on purpose?
A
Like
little.
you had to have known about it by now.
I mean,
right?
knew
Like,
about it. It
heard
wasn't
about
like.
it.
But I'd heard about it.
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
And you were just like, I'm not gonna watch that.
That's what I said to
It's bullshit.
you. And I don't even know what I meant by that's bullshit. I didn't care.
You're known for just saying stuff.
Yeah. In fact, you and I were on a podcast once where it and Korra won the top 1 and 2 all-time cartoon slots. It's an interesting result, but
I skewed them.
I couldn't say because I didn't see it, right? So maybe they were. But no, I never watched it. I thought the story sounded really cool, but I just didn't watch it. And then when I saw maybe the few clips that I have seen or just heard about, they do that kind of anime thing where they react in a very large, expressive way to the smallest of things.
Yes.
And
I know what you speak of.
Yeah. And I have never been into that. And it puts me off of a lot of anime, which sound really cool.
Yeah.
And I really want to watch these things. And I feel like now, I've been thinking about this recently. I'm like, maybe I could give it another try.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe I'll just be cool with that now. Right. But I haven't done that. And that's why I didn't watch Avatar: The Last Airbender back then. But it wasn't like a choice. There was a time before I knew that I could have watched it, and it's right up my alley of things.
Yeah.
So no, not express.
So I watched it sporadically as it was coming out way back in the day. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really cute. And I didn't really give it too much thought.
That was it.
But then there was a sequel series called The Legend of Korra. And I wound up watching all of that on streaming. And that is what really sort of grabbed my attention. And I grew to love that show just from the three seasons, I think it is, of watching it. I just really loved Korra and all of the Avatar world building that they had done. Because it takes place 100 years after
I heard about that.
The original Avatar series. Yeah. And I thought, how cool. And then, so they show the advancements in technology, sort of the socio-political developments that have occurred in the past 100 years with regard to just bending in general and all this other sort of stuff. And I thought they did really, really cool, more adult themed storylines that dealt with things like PTSD, etc.
Oh, okay.
And so cool. I just absolutely loved it. And then I don't know why. I guess maybe because I heard that this show was coming. I was like, you know what? Let me go back and actually do a full watch through of, I'll call it Team Avatar, that, you know, because it's all The Last Airbender, but like Team Avatar stuff.
Okay. Is there more than those two things?
Yes.
Oh,
no. Well,
there will be.
There's going to be.
Right.
There's also novels, comic books.
Oh, sure.
But as far as the two eras that exist so far, it's Team Avatar and then Korra. So,
I thought Team Avatar encompassed the whole universe.
No, Team Avatar is just what I call the original Last Airbender series with Aang and his team, which they call themselves Team Avatar.
They call themselves that in the thing.
Do you couldn't swear to it?
That's what you think whenever you read it. You're like, oh, Team Avatar is
Team
on
Avatar.
the page.
There they are.
Yeah.
How delightful. So Cookie Monster is in YouTube. He's commenting.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cookie Monster is in the chat. We've made it.
Yeah, he's here.
It's the Cookie Monster. But anyway, so
wow.
That's pretty cool that Cookie Monster is here. However, I'm not sure this is the real Cookie Monster.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And so it would not be as cool.
I'm not sure Cookie Monster would comment. Legend of Korra got destroyed by woke writing.
Yes. I guess this person is under the impression that this show started
Cookie Monster just got himself blocked from the chat.
Is that right? Yes, had you not read Cookie Monster's comments before mentioning
live action was shit? You didn't have to block him. It's not like he was being racist. What was I gonna say? I got distracted by Cookie Monster.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the real Cookie Monster for a little while?
No, not at all.
To undo this.
What was I gonna say? The Team Avatar. I went back and watched all 3 seasons and absolutely loved it.
So had you ever seen the original Avatar all the way through?
No.
Even up to this point?
No.
Now you have. But
because I went back and rewatched it. But no, up until that point, no, I hadn't watched it.
You never had. Even though you're so into Korra, you never went back and watched the original Avatar. Now, were there airbenders in Korra?
Yes.
See, I thought there might have been. Yeah. So he was just the last airbender at that time.
Okay. That's right.
All right.
So I wound up, I absolutely love the cartoon. Both of them. And so I went into this show. Oh God, I guess we have to talk about Shyamalan. So I was very excited about the M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out. And we had talked about a movie last week, and you had almost left. You almost walked out of a movie.
Oh, that's what you meant from the
do.
conversation.
You're like, I hate this conversation.
JD, I love this movie, and I just don't want to talk about it with you.
That's right.
I don't want you to possibly ruin my experience.
So this is one of those rare times where if I wasn't with a group of people and wasn't sure what their reaction was to the thing happening on screen, I would have just got up and left.
What did it turn out their reaction was? Do you recall?
They all wanted to leave.
Really?
Afterwards, we all had the same, wanted to go, but I wasn't sure if you guys were enjoying it. So I didn't want to be rude and ruin your experience of the movie.
Yeah.
So to a person, we all hated it. Huh. And I heard that they were doing this, but it was supposed to be with the creators of the original cartoon.
Oh, is that right?
I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
And then they left the project.
Oh, did they? Oh, that's unfortunate.
Creative differences is all I really know.
Uh-huh.
But that also was like, that makes me a little bit
like
nervous.
the thing where you're like, oh, it'd be cool if the creators of the original one created this one, and then the Netflix wanted to create something else rather than what they wanted. So we got this instead.
It doesn't seem so. Watching this show, it doesn't seem. I'm trying to figure out what the problem was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, having not watched any Avatar, you watched the first 2 episodes of this. I watched the first 4 episodes.
Okay.
And what did you think of those first 2 episodes?
Wasn't super into it.
Tell me why.
I thought the writing was bad. It was on the nose. They announced how they were feeling and things about the plot that you want to know.
It was the first episode, I think, was very expository.
Very much, but not even expository like, well, I had to come here because of this reason. They're like, this is in the second episode, but he's like, this is what is happening now. This is the meaning of these events playing out in front of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the very end of the second one, when they have, let me tell you something, guys, they triumph over the antagonists of that episode for a time.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling they'll be back. But then Aang is off in the distance and he's like making friends with people, and the girl, the waterbender with them, Katara, who's cool. I think she's good.
Yeah.
She's like, what's happening now is this. This means these things. Oh. In the future, this will need to occur, or something of that nature.
You're talking about, but
she just lays out like, this is the meaning of the scene, and you guys should know this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of like, just I am feeling this way now.
Yeah.
There was one scene where the boy is supposed to be interrupted by another character.
Aang.
Yeah, and he just kind of trails off, and then the other character interrupts him. And even if that is kind of hard to get right, the editors could have just cut it a little differently, right? But that's not what they did, and I wonder if the direction was more the issue. Because like a lot of people in this seem to, I don't know, behave in very face value ways, which is also maybe kind of an anime thing. Yeah. So maybe that's what they were going for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Visually stunning.
Oh,
very cool.
You like looking at it?
I like looking at
nice.
it, right? But I also love to see it go.
Yeah, you have to watch it leave. So, gosh, what are my thoughts on this show? I liked it well enough.
Okay.
That I want to finish it.
Okay.
But there is the dichotomy of wanting it to be like the cartoon, but also not too much like the cartoon, because I think anytime that this show is recreating any of the cartoony elements of the animated series, over the top emotions,
the kind
big,
of interplay,
broad comedy bits.
Yeah, like the thing with the flying lemur or whatever.
Yeah.
The interplay between them is very like cartoon.
Yeah.
Cartoon from 20 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I don't watch children's cartoons as much as I once did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We meet Boomy later, who's a character which is very over the top, and they do their best to translate it almost literally into live action, and I don't think that works. I think that's a bit too broad, a bit too silly, whereas the character himself is a very silly character, and they try to sort of inject some pathos and some actual, I guess, emotion to him. and it sort of just feels a little wonky. I feel like the show doesn't really know what vibe it wants to give off, because it does. I think when it does the drama, I think it's successful. When it does cartoony things, that's when it just feels like it should have been a cartoon. You know, it's just translate. If you're going to translate it from a cartoon into real life, make changes to things that would happen in real life and not so much in a cartoon. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like some things read better in a cartoon setting.
Yeah. You're more forgiving of it because you know the medium that you're watching it in.
Right. You're more expecting it to be over the top reality that is different from our own.
Yeah.
Whereas in live action, even though there are certain things you accept are different from our own, you still expect it to work sort of like our own, right? The interactions between people, even though they're like flying on a sky bison, that is something that you accept as part of the reality of this, and not so much some of the more cartoony interplay. I don't know. Now I'm reminded of One Piece, which I watched and really enjoyed.
Really?
The live action one.
Yeah, I understand.
I really liked it.
Sushan and I got about 10 minutes into the first episode.
Oh, it was like minute 12, man.
Oh, that's when it kicks off.
Yeah.
Shit.
And they announced, they're like, it's about 12 minutes since this other event happened.
It's time to get good.
Yeah.
Is anyone really welcome for Aquaman?
Says friend of the show, Rob Patey. Well, Rob, I'm welcome for Aquaman, but I haven't seen it, and I probably won't.
Oh, because Noel earlier said it's streaming, you're welcome. Is anyone really welcome? No. I see. I was over it after the second golden shower.
How many did they do total?
7?
I think
just 2.
But it's the 7 seats. Why didn't they do one for each seat?
I actually quite liked Aquaman 2, Rob.
Very good.
But I hated Aquaman 1.
Oh.
So go ahead.
So I really enjoyed One Piece, and I thought it was a very cool adaptation, which felt like it had a lot of the stylized over the top elements from a cartoon in the world that existed as part of the reality of that world, but they did not interact with each other. They sort of did interact in a kind of heightened stylized way, but it wasn't a strong thing, and they certainly did not just mimic how people would act in the cartoon. I thought it was great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to go back and try it again because I know I didn't give it a fair shake.
No.
It was just one of those things that Sushan and I were watching, trying to find out something to watch, and it had been recommended to us, and then we didn't make it very far at all.
No.
But I'll tell you what I was telling you a story before we started recording, and that's I was watching Tenet, which we'll be talking about next week.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I went back to Netflix, Airbender came up top of the screen, and I was excited to revisit it, to continue watching.
Yeah, you'd seen a couple of episodes,
and I was like, I'm ready to jump back into this.
I could do that.
It is charming enough that I think it's mostly successful. The things that I've brought up are sort of nitpicks. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, but there are elements to it that I think could be better.
Yeah.
I do think that this is a show that I think it was 8 episodes. I'm hoping it'll get better as it goes if it gets another season.
That would be nice.
These could all just be beginning of show hiccups.
Could be.
You know, we've got a lot of stuff to,
especially very expository stuff. You need to be told what scenes mean in the beginning, and then once you get into it, maybe it'll be better. You know what I think is interesting? This is an Asian world, right, that they are in. And as I understand it, the Chinese elements are air, earth, fire, water, and metal, or metal. Yeah. Or the void in some, which I always thought was cool. And cool thing to notice. But it's interesting that they don't do that in this, right? Or JD, do you mean to communicate with me by looks that they do this?
They do.
Wow.
They do.
He controls all of those elements?
Some people do.
Somebody does.
So
but he's Avatar.
So that's one of the things that I love about the cartoon is that it starts off in the same way that this show does, which is, I think, for a much younger audience, right? Where you're spoon-fed some things. But then as the show grows and develops, it gets more and more adult oriented, darker. It brings really cool elements, not to, no pun intended, to the show that I wasn't expecting.
Oh.
And there are times when I'm watching the cartoon and I was like, I can't believe that this is a kid's cartoon on Nickelodeon.
Oh, sweet.
You know what I mean?
Kind of like Adventure Time.
Yes.
Yes. Very similar.
Yeah. Adventure Time gets pretty wonky. Yeah.
It's a good show. You know what I should talk about on a future, what I've been up to that week is the newer Adventure Time Fiona and Cake.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. It's very cool.
I like Fiona and Cake.
There's a little preview for something I could talk about.
That may or may not happen.
Yeah.
So Noel's thoughts.
What did he think about this?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
The first episode was quaint.
Does this involve any kissing of us?
We'll find out.
The
first episode was quaint. The second one, cute. And the third finally hooked me.
Okay.
I get it. It's a delightful show that skews a bit younger than what I usually watch, but I can absolutely see the appeal. It's a little broad, but earnest and for all ages, so that tracks. I would say there are times when less is more, visually and plot-wise, but with a property like this, I can imagine how hard it is to decide what stays and goes for a new medium. The production is mostly great with some sketchy digital backgrounds that pull me out, which some of the Star Wars shows are also guilty of. As someone who's never seen the animated series, good stuff, and I will totally finish the season.
All right.
Yeah. So those are all great points.
See, I found myself kind of interested in what would happen in the show. But I probably will not watch it.
You dislike it that much. You're like, I'm not even gonna bother.
Probably.
Which is fine.
Probably.
Yeah.
And there's also other things, and it's not like I have infinite time to watch whatever I want.
There's too much.
Right? There's so many things.
Yeah.
Rob Patey says Lumpy Cloud Princess for president, and I think that could work out pretty well, depending on president of what exactly.
Yeah. Of globbing.
That could work.
Yeah.
It's such a good show.
Oh my glob.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy it. I was kind of hoping.
Yeah.
That you would
this
at
would be
least,
my entree.
Yeah.
Into the Avatar
or that you would
world.
at least be interested enough or piqued by this enough to go check out the animated series.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm kind of annoyed because I do want to see the rest of this story.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch the rest of this show.
I could watch the cartoon, man.
The cartoon.
It's great.
It's true.
Highly recommend. It's wonderful.
This one looks so cool, though. You know?
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Is that it? Did we do it?
I think so.
Dylan, did you watch the show?
I did. I watched the first episode.
What the hell, Dylan?
Because that is all I could watch.
Okay.
Because that's how much you disliked it.
I did not like it. I think you hit the nail with
the hammer.
The hammer.
I put the hammer.
You hit
on
the hammer. The hammer made contact with the nail so good.
Yeah.
And they're retelling the same exact jokes that were in the cartoon.
Oh.
And I'm
you saw and liked the cartoon?
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
and when you were talking about it a couple of episodes ago, saying you're revisiting it and stuff, I'm like, it's been a minute. I'm gonna go. So I've been rewatching the cartoon. Like that's just been like on days like today where I come in later because we do the later show.
Yeah.
When I'm getting ready and doing my stuff in the morning, like I'll just have that on in the background, and it's wonderful.
So
I love that show so much.
Yeah.
And then I was super excited for the live action one. Skeptical a little bit after the M. Night Shyamalan stuff, but I checked it out because like the trailer, I was like, okay, that looks pretty well. I'll check it out. So me and my girlfriend checked it out, and it just doesn't translate for me. Seeing Aang fly around in live action looked so bad.
Yeah, that's some of the worst elements of
it.
The
was
the
like the earth bending shit looked so cool.
The first scene.
Yeah,
the first scene.
That was
I love
so
how
cool.
difficult it is. Like earthbending looks like you're doing a lot of work.
Exactly, heavy and shit.
Yeah,
that opening scene was really cool.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
But like.
And the fire bending, I think, looks great.
Right. I also like that they provided an explanation. Why? Because the fire king is going in and he's like tearing up all the air people, and I'm like, shouldn't they be kind of evenly matched? Right. And then he was like, I wouldn't. Maybe you'd have a chance if it wasn't for the power of this comet, which I guess they can access.
The comet comes around 100 years.
100 years.
Every 100 years, and that's how he took over the world, basically.
Right.
Because the fire benders are so much stronger because of the comet.
Are there other things that enhance the other elements' powers
The
at different
moon-
times?
The moon enhances the water bending.
That comes around so much more
and
often.
then eventually
Some other stuff.
you're able to do blood bending.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Some Legend of Korra
Okay.
for
Yep.
you.
So I have a question. If the Fire King, his whole deal was he is going to kill the Avatar, right? And then he'll have an opportunity to take over the world, right?
Yeah. Well,
but
he already killed the previous Avatar.
Oh, he killed her?
Him, yes.
I thought it was her. I thought the most recent one was the one.
Korra is 100 years after.
No, I'm talking about in Avatar, The Last Airbender.
You talking? No, the previous one.
No, in this show.
Jesus Christ! What's up? What's the question?
The Fire King, wants to take over the world, and he's like, I gotta kill the next Avatar because we don't know who he is, so we're gonna kill all of the Airbenders because we know the next one's gonna be an Airbender, right?
Yes.
So, but then the Avatar would just be born into another, right?
Right. Not a good idea,
right?
Like he killed the previous Avatar before Aang was actually the Fire King's best friend.
They were best friends?
They were both firebenders.
Oh. And he was like, I don't think you should take over the world. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They were like childhood friends. They grew up together.
Right.
And he wound up being like, yo, bro, maybe don't.
Right.
And he was like, bro, what if I did?
I would like to.
I'm gonna kill you. You're dead. So
because they just announced what they're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just like you don't like. What he should have done is imprison the other Avatar.
Right.
Yeah.
Put him in the water or something.
Yeah. But also, I mean, it's a kid, so he probably wasn't that nervous about a kid.
Well, he didn't know it was going to be a kid.
Yes.
It's always a kid.
It's always a kid.
Well, still, but then it'll just go on to the next person. Was he going to keep killing him?
Yeah.
I guess he was.
So. Yeah.
That was his plan.
Mark Hamill did the voice on the cartoon.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Of the Fire King? Yeah, I heard he was in it. Yeah.
Fire Lord Ozai.
Also, everyone's blaming Aang. They're like, you ran away. He didn't really seem to know what was going on.
Nah.
You know?
Yeah. He got trapped. He didn't know.
He got trapped in the ice, right? Yeah. Which he created, but he didn't know about, I think. But
he went to the Avatar state, I think, and created that.
He just found out he was the Avatar.
Yeah.
You guys.
Like a minute ago.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like 60 seconds.
So what does he do? He flies off on his bison into a storm.
Yeah. They came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I'm sorry you didn't like it, Dylan. That's a bummer.
I really wanted to like it. Hearing you guys, you and Noel saying that it does get better.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe I'll push through. But the whole time I was like, oh, I just watched that episode of the cartoon. Like when they were explaining stuff. Because like the whole it's laid out differently. Like you said, it's a lot of exposition. They go into a lot of the past stuff that you don't get into later on in the series with the animated one. The animated one sort of just starts off like, oh, Goofy Kid's on an adventure, and then you learn more about them as they go along.
Yeah.
But this one, it was a lot of setup, and I was just like, oh yeah, I remember that episode. I just watched that. Oh,
that was so much better.
I should just go. And I'm literally in the middle of rewatching it. Might as well just keep going, and then maybe I'll come back to this. I'm probably gonna finish this, and then Korra, obviously, and then maybe I'll go back to this. We'll see.
I really loved seeing the Kyoshi warriors.
I didn't even get past. I only got to episode 1. So
yeah, they're in episode 2.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna enjoy
they're
seeing
in
the Kyoshi
2.
warriors, and
you might enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out, and I'll let you know when I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I did like the one guy that isn't Aang, the Avatar.
Sokka.
Yes. Probably.
Yes. Who looks exactly like the drawing of Sokka.
I felt like I was looking because I've seen that.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's the spit and image of him.
Is it spit and image?
It is. I'm
not
glad you asked.
Spitting image.
It's like
I can tell you pronounced it specifically for me to ask.
I do but I do pronounce it that way sometimes for fun.
Yeah.
And every time, and they, I think it's like a mysticism thing, right? Like a magic thing. You had the spit and image, and you could like,
interesting,
do something with that. Make somebody like that, or I don't know.
Interesting.
I think that's where it comes from. We'll get back to you next week.
Yeah.
But
the Sokka,
he
looks exactly like
really he does. But the interaction that he has with the Kyoshi warrior woman, and she's way better at fighting than he is, and he's like, yo, it would be cool if you taught me how to fight, and then she does. It's cool. He's not like, I can fight. I heard in the show he is.
Yeah, that's one of the elements that people were upset about when they heard that it was going to be different. And one of them is in the show, to start off with, Sokka is pretty misogynistic.
Right. That's what
and so that whole thing with the Kyoshi warriors is supposed to be a learning experience for him of like, oh, women are dope.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I guess that's what the wokeness he was talking about is.
No, that was about Korra.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The whole show is fucking woke, which is
that's the thing.
Tickles me.
That's the thing is that it started out that way.
Yeah. Always was.
Right.
But anyway, well, let us know what you guys thought. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com, or tweet at us at cultpopgo. And let us know what you think of this show. Tell us like that one, like Cookie Monster did, that the live action is shit, or if you liked it. Yeah.
Tell us either thing you thought.
Yeah. And then next week we're going to be talking about
Tenet.
Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Yeah. With
film.
that guy and Robert Pattinson
and some other people.
A woman who I saw a little bit later in a different show. No,
yeah.
It was the.
So be on the lookout for that. God damn it. Thanks so much, and we'll talk at you later. Did it. Ooh, more treats.
Oh, can I have one?
Yeah.
Can Dylan have one?
Dylan, treat.
Cool.
Oh, these are good.
That show was unwatchable.